Hi all, right, welcome back. It's in Kharkov, German Solo, part 8. Yeah, part 8. Okay, so a few hours went by since I posted my question regarding this. Haven't had a response, unfortunately. So it might be that we've got to do something about it. However, um, yeah, another error. I've noticed this one myself, so I've just finished watching back this part. And yeah, it's rather comical. Well, I think it is, because if you recall, this unit is in. Let's leave that disperse mark and mark on. He's in here, and the attack's coming from there, and we work out the odds, and the odds are 10 to 3, 3 to 1. Yeah, they are. We work out the chip pools. We add 3 chip pools for the 3 two-step units. And then we say, right, and this guy's outside the artillery barrage zone, but let's just add a chip for the artillery barrage. And I'm like watching that thinking, what are you doing? So I don't know how, like I've made a comment saying, I don't know how my brain kind of works at times. It just, like, it's all in the one sentence, right? He's outside the barrage zone, so we still add 1 chip pool for the artillery. Yeah, so what should have happened was, it's quite straightforward. We should have only drawn 4 chits. Now, funnily enough, we drew, which didn't matter, but if we'd drawn artillery combat chits, it might have balanced it out, because we drew artillery as the combat tactic. So we still had artillery in the battle, but we would only had 4 chip pools and not 5. 3 for the units and 1 for the artillery card that we drew. Not for the artillery barrage zone, because the unit's outside it. Grant? Come on. I don't know why I was thinking that. I mean, like I say, it was all in the one sentence, right? It's outside the zone, but we still get to add a chip. I'm still baffled by it and thinking, am I getting something wrong there? But no, I think I was getting something wrong. So, and the 5th chip that we drew, actually, I'm going to put it back in the cup as well. It was, because it got set aside, so we might as well, because that wouldn't have got drawn. That's it there. Yeah, because this was the last chip that I drew, and I shouldn't have drawn this. And I remember saying, oh, I looked at the front side, thought there was not any issues. Not going to be any issues, and then the back side, well, we had 3 to 1, so it was an extra hit to us, but also an extra hit to them. So we ended up, we're counting this, it was D2 and A2. However, we wouldn't have counted this chip, okay, and I'm going to put that back in the cup, and not a set aside cup, and the result would have been D2, the result would have been D1, A1. So we would only took 1 hit ourselves, and they would only take 1 hit as well. I felt like I dropped a chip there, but no, it's not. So in actual fact, this unit would only have retreated to here with a 1 hit. Yeah, I mean, I can't retreat them to there, so I could retreat them to here or here, but this hex makes more sense. It's shutting the road a little bit. And he wouldn't have been dispersed, so we can put that away. So in some ways, I mean, kind of felt more comfortable across that side of the river, but then at least I'm not dispersed, I suppose. And then the hit that we took off, the extra hit that we took off this unit would have not happened, so I'll put him back to full strength. So he's back to full strength. We did take the first hit on the infantry unit, because they did take 1 hit, and yeah, and then, well, we've still got the advance after combat possibility, but now there's only 1 hex to advance into, that's the combat hex, but we're still not feeling sure if some of the units should have been in here, or should they all be in there right enough. Obviously, if I'm going to do something else, I'm going to have to just go with them all being in that hex if it's going to interfere with things, but I'd like to think somebody might say something soon. I mean, the time that I had recorded that, I was sort of afternoonish, so people probably still at work and things. Anyway, okay. The one plus about that is when we were back here, we were opening up a gap to both sides. Now that we're here, there's no gap there and there's no gap there. So that is and also a big plus, I suppose. So yeah, I think that was a good result. So yeah, I don't know where my thinking came in with that. Because they even go to check. Oh no. Anyway, the other check that I make on is it this unit along here, and he is in the barrage zone, but that doesn't turn into a combat. Okay, well that was something I spotted myself, so hopefully everything else is okay. It looked alright. I mean, to be honest, it was looking alright. That was right up until the end. I was like, what? I'm surprised I even noticed it, to be honest. It was just that daft. Right, so it's time for a German impulse. Okay, and I get the feeling it might be time for the second SS. Again, 40th Panzer Corps, we're not really fussed about. I mean, there's third corps now, right enough. I think we should get second SS on the board because we don't know what the last card is in our draw pile. Yeah, I think so. I think we should deploy our reserves. And then possibly the last card, you never know, it could be a second SS activation, we might be able to adjust them a wee bit better. Core Rouse as well, but I mean, like I said, I think I would maybe, don't really think I want to move the Core Rouse units. Possibly use that for Engineers event. So maybe get the second SS out first, and then who knows, it might give you other options for putting IPs on. Know that they're stronger units and possibly don't need that. Maybe some other units need it more than them, but yeah, okay, I think that's what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, so let's do this. Let's deploy these units. Now that is the right area, isn't it? Yeah. This is just to show you there, this is Army Detachment Kempf area where the Core Rouse units would deploy. This is the 4th Panzer Army area, which is what we're going to deploy just now. And then the last area from there right across is 1st Panzer Army area, so it's not enough of what going on in that area at the moment. So we've got to deploy them in their area, obviously, but what are the other guidelines and restrictions, etc.? Let's find out. Okay, so I was just reading over the deployment rules for the reserves, and then nothing really new. Seems pretty similar to what we've played before. We can put them in any order we want, like I was saying. I mean, I could place unit 9 if I wanted first. As soon as one of the units in play, though, you've got to consider that in play, because one of the preferences is that you place the unit within 3 hexes of a unit in the same corps. If this is not possible, then place the unit within 3 hexes of the unit in the same army. And then, if neither is possible, the reserve unit can't be placed via tactical reserve deployment. However, we do have strategic reserve deployment too, which is place reserve units in a German map edge hex or road hex as a valid friendly supply head in the unit's army area and at least 5 hexes away from non-isolated enemy units, garrisons and enemy towns and cities. This distance is reduced to 2 hexes if placing the unit in a German map edge hex. Well, we're not going to be placing it in a map edge hex from where we are, so we can either go in the tactical reserve deployment. It needs to be 3 hexes away from an enemy unit or enemy town or city. Again, it's reduced to 2 if you're on the map edge. In the unit's army area, in a German map edge hex or road hex as a friendly supply head, or a clear terrain hex adjacent to such a hex. So it's the same rules as the previous game, the Soviet Soul game we just played. So, I can put it on on the road that's on a supply road, or I could put it on a clear hex that was adjacent to that road if I chose to. So between these two, now, so the big one at the moment as well, unless we want a, yeah, we'd need to be 5 hexes away from this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There, we could deploy in there if we wanted to, and with the first unit, with strategic reserve deployment. Or if we wanted to choose to be within 3 of this guy, 1, 2, you know, we could place it here with tactical reserve deployment, which isn't 5 away, but it's more than 3 away from that. So I do have options, but I've got to decide wherever the first one goes. I'm then looking at 3 hex. It's got to then be within 3 hexes of that unit. So yes, what do you think? Okay, this is where I struggle. Okay, well, let's put, now we've got 2 3-step units, haven't we? So I'm going to put unit 4 in Chugiev, I think. Actually, I'll put the front marker underneath, because we don't really need to go looking for that until we need to go looking for it. And that is, okay, let's just double check. It's in the unit's army area. Yep. It's in a German map edge hex, or, well, it's not in a German map edge hex. It's in a road hex that is a valid friendly supply head, which it is. I can trade supply down this road and away, no problems. And it's at least 3 hexes away from an enemy unit or enemy town or city. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 away from these guys. They're the closest, so we're all good. And then it's not in a hex containing a Soviet garrison, but maybe adjacent to a garrison. So that's correct. And then within these restrictions, place the unit within 3 hexes of a unit in the same core. Well, we don't have any core on the map until we get this guy down. If this is not possible, then place the unit within 3 hexes of a unit in the same army. So this is 4 Panzer army is within 3 hexes of that. So I'll put that guy in Chugiev. And then I'm going to put, I don't know about Zimyev or maybe there. I thought get 1 here and then get 1, well, that'd be 1, 2, 3, it would have to be there, or do I maybe want him there? See, if I put this guy there, I can stretch that guy up to there. And he's 3 away still. And then my last thought was with this guy was maybe just parking him back in Kharkov. I don't know. Do I need to be quite that defensive? Should I not be trying to make a line of them along here maybe? I mean, or does it really matter? I mean, it might be better sitting in Kharkov, because they're not bound by their, it's not like the last game where I can't cross this boundary. It's only for deployment purposes these boundaries come into it. So if you have a look here, and I mean, okay, it's mostly infantry there. However, we've got the 3rd tank here as well. So they could come down to Odzbelgorod. This guy parked in Kharkov, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can move across to Belgorod. So, you know, he's in a good sort of bit to be able to make, you know, and he can move closer to the fight if need be. If we decide that we want to have a go at somebody in here, he's on the road. He could go down that road, or he can cut across and come up this road. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I'd write this guy in Zimyev or there. I don't think it matters really. I think I'll put him there so I can just stretch this guy 1 extra hex. I'm not really sure why, but so this was the first deployment. He's on a supply head. He's in the area. The second unit, 1, 2, 3. He's within 3. He's, you know, 1, 2, 3. This guy's within 3, and then Once he's deployed, 1, 2, 3, he's within 3, and he's 3 away from an enemy unit or town. They're all on the supply road. At least 3 hexes away from an enemy unit. Not in a hex containing Soviet garrison. And then, like I say, the first one gets placed within three hexes of this unit in his army, and then the other 3 get placed within 3 hexes of a unit in the same corps. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. That looks good. I wouldn't know what looked good. Right, anyway, that's going in there. So that's our impulse over. So we're going to draw our final card now of the turn. It's a mystery card because we've got all our primary cards. Oh, the core arrives again. Yuck. It's got screen combat tactic, which is quite tasty. So that's a camp group one as well, so not so great for activating them. So it's either going to activate these 2 or these 2, isn't it? Nothing to deploy. Yeah. Well, maybe the screen will come into effect, but then that means I'm using a card as a combat tactic, and we've only got 4 cards left. And the Soviets have, I'll tell you just now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've still got 8, but remember they're drawing 2 at a time. Although that last time they drew 2, they shuffled 1 back in, so there could be more of that hams as well. Right, okay. Right, well that's our impulse out the way. What else? There was something else I forgot to, oh yeah. I had posted a question, I know I talked about when a unit becomes inactive, when a unit's active and not active in this game. Because Soviet Solo, it did bring up quite a question about, because a unit, once it's moved, it is then considered it's done something, so it then becomes inactive again. Well, not so. I know I read it in, I read the description of it in this book, and I was a bit confused, and I thought, well, that still doesn't really tell me. What am I looking for? Yeah, active unit. And the description is, this is on page 21, 9.3, Soviet activation terminology. Active unit, a Soviet unit in the activated formation, on the map, or in the reserve units box. You know, it goes on to say this includes units activated because they're stat with units of information activated by a front or Stavka card, but it does say a Soviet unit in the activated formation on the map or in the reserve units box. Full stop. You know, so I suppose if you read that literally, it does say that as soon as the unit's activated, it's going to stay active right throughout that impulse. And that's the response I got, and Martin said the same. I must have got mixed up. I'm sure Martin had said there was something different with that from Enemy Action Ardennes, but he actually quoted me it's exactly the same in Ardennes, and I went and had a look because I thought, well, it's maybe not word for word, but it's, yeah, pretty much the same word and description, if you like. So yeah, I don't know what else I was thinking about when Martin said that, and there's that many things to try and keep track of. Yeah, so yeah, because I don't think I mentioned that one. So obviously I accepted that. So whenever a unit becomes active, it's active right throughout the impulse. And if anything happens to say can't stack with active units, then they're always going to be active if they were activated. Do you know what I mean? Right, okay, I'm just going to take a wee quick pause, but I'm going to move the camera across and we're going to start another Soviet impulse, I think. And I'm just going to hope that it's not going to interfere with this. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think I'm getting away with it. Because these guys could have advanced into here, couldn't they? 1, 2, 3, I'm okay, that's alright. Because I need to be 3 away from them, so I'm actually, yeah, I've got away with that. So if they do advance into there, I'm still going to have been 3 away, so that was fine. Okay, I'll move the camera and we'll get a Soviet impulse shortly. Okay, next Soviet impulse, we draw 2 cards. Southwest Front card and 69th Army Units card. So no primary cards, but this is clearly a 4 rather than a 1, so it is going to become the command card. Southwest, oh that's good then, it's not the front that the 3rd tank are part of, is it? So hopefully we can still linger with the units deciding what they're going to do. So is there an event? Oh, it's command away again. It's the exact same card, isn't it? So on the auxiliary card we have the event from turn 1 to 5, command away. And we needed to have 4 cards, yeah, we've still got that though, haven't we? If this card is a current auxiliary card and there are 4 more cards in the Soviet draw pile, return this card to the draw pile and shuffle. But yeah, there is, well I just counted 8, Grant, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still 6 cards in the draw pile. Done that again, I'm just about to shuffle the card. So this will shuffle in, turns 1 to 5, yeah, okay. So that's going to shuffle in. And right, so we've got Southwest Front. So, what is it? On turns 1 to 3, activate all units in mobile group pop-off plus stacked units, alright. And then if it was 4 to 7, activate army in the Southwestern Front with the most supplied units on the map, and then reserve plus stacked units. Okay. Oh, oops, that's the wrong bit. It doesn't say reserves for the 1 to 3 bit. Activate all units in mobile group pop-off plus stacked units. We have a reserve, so activate army in Southwestern Front with most supplied units on map and in reserve plus stacked units. Activate all Southwestern Front units outside operational limit or nearly surrounded. If no units qualify, instead activate army by this card's activation command for game turn 4. Okay. So do we not get to activate the reserves for that then? Okay, I was a little confused by that, but it says in the rules, page 14, 8.13 unit activation command, and it gives you a description of all the cards. And it does still say Southwest Front card, activate all units in mobile group pop-off and any Southwest Front unit stacked with units in mobile group pop-off. And then at the 4 to 7 is activate the army in the Southwest Front with the most units. Count only on map supplied units and units in the reserve box. So I think that's why it's saying that's why it's mentioning reserves there. A sec. Yeah, I was just glancing back at the cards, and it doesn't actually say about anything about when you just get a normal card. It just says activate all units in the army, and then you do check reserves. The reason it's mentioning reserves there is because it's a check you've got to count. You've got to count the most supplied units on map and in reserve. And the description in the rules, like I said, says count only on map supplied units and units in the reserve box. Yeah, and at the very bottom of this bit, it says activations via a front card or the Stavka card include unsupplied units and reserve units in the activated army and all units from other armies in the same front stacked with the units in the activated army. So it's reserve units in the activated army, mobile group pop-off, but the units that are stacked with it, you don't get them out of reserves, surely. No, I don't think so. Reserve units in the activated army, and all units from other armies in the same front stacked with the units in the activated army. Right, okay, I think I've got that. So it will include mobile group pop-off reserve units, but if say we are stacked with a a first guards. If a first guards unit is stacked with Popov, then he wouldn't get his reserve out of the reserve units box, no. But he would activate if he was stacked with it. Right, okay, I think that's right. Okay, right, let's move up and have a look at things. Okay. Yeah, so activate mobile group Popov. I don't think they've got anybody stacked with them. That's all Popov, and this is first guards on its own as well. So yeah, so all it's going to do here is activate mobile group Popov. They do have this guy in the reserve units box, so I need to keep him in mind. Okay, so yeah, right, let's go about it then. So the first check is obviously the front marker. I'll just move back a bit for this. It's probably unlikely. So the southwest front objective markers down there. There is not a southwest front unit in the hex. There is not a German unit in the hex and a southwest front adjacent. And there's no southwest front unit proximate to the objective. Is that right? That is right. Okay, so it doesn't move, stays where it is. Okay, so movement method 1, take a VP hex. Can they take a VP hex? And remember, if they happen to be adjacent to a VP hex, they can still burst their way in there. So yeah, this could be something. I mean, we've kind of got it blocked off just now, but the fact we're not sitting in Kramatorsk, you've got to remember that if a unit was to be adjacent to it, then it could easily just move from here to here, or from here to here into it, and ignore the zone of control that it's moving through. So yeah, there's that. So no, they can't go and take a VP hex. I think a lot of their concern might be to come and sort this guy out that's in the VP hex, because they've already taken Kramatorsk now. No, it's not Kramatorsk, Slavansk. Okay, so no VP hexes they can go and take. So move method 2, adjacent to German VP hex and near objective. So I'm still finding I'm preferring to just read this out the rule book, but once I get more comfortable maybe. What was something on my mind there though? Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. Right, so just jumping down the end of this, the Soviet unit starting adjacent to a German VP hex within 4 hexes of the objective marker and unable to move. Nah, well actually, I guess I was just looking at this guy and saying he's adjacent to a VP hex here, but this is not within 4 hexes of the objective marker, so that doesn't come in yet, because that would lock him into not moving, I think. He might well not be doing anything anyway, he might just be sitting there, but... Okay, so, adjacent to German VP hex and near objective. In ascending order, move to a hex closer to or within 4 hexes of the unit's objective marker and adjacent to a German VP hex. In ascending order. Right, well we've got unit 1 here, and... I'm going to come back a little bit, but... I'm sure you'll trust me if I count hexes off camera and just let you know. Well, it certainly looks like this unit could move from here to here, or well, actually moving from here to here. I do not think we get him closer, but this looks like it would get him 1 hex closer because his objective marker's down that way. So so it does look like he can move adjacent to this German VP hex and closer to his objective. Yes. Yeah, this guy can only... This is 1 hex closer to his army objective. Sorry, his front objective. And it's the only hex that he can reach adjacent to this that is closer. This one's not any closer. If he could get across this one, that's not closer either, but he can't get around there. And he obviously cannot move into this one, because it's in between zone of control, and he can't get around the back here. So I do. Oh, wait a minute. What are we? Let's get our active units sorted. Right, I'll pause. Okay, so they're all our active units. It is complete mobile group pop-off, so whether it's quite as needed here or not, but I think I'm going to give that a go for a while. I think it did work quite well. I mean, yeah, I don't like to move them about so much like that, but you can see positions where you could get caught. Right, anyway, been through that, so I'm going to go with so that means they're all activated. If they end up turned that way, that means they've moved, and if they end up turned that way, that means they've attacked, right? So so unit 1, like I said, this is only hex that he can move to, but as a hex closer to his objective marker and adjacent to a German VP hex. So, and there's no other German VP hex he can move to that's closer. So I believe he is going to just move 1, 2 into there, crossing the minor river, and adjacent to that. Now look at this, watch, look, red cubes. Well, I thought, where have I got these? I mean, I had these light blue cubes and dark blue cubes, and even the green ones. I thought, where did I get them from? And it's one of the coin games, Colonial Twilight. And I thought, have I not got another coin game that would maybe have red? And then I thought, Fire in the Lake. So I pinched some of them as well. So yeah, I think it suits it better. The only worry is when I go to get the games out to play, I'm like, where's my cubes? Yeah, need to watch that, I suppose. Okay, so that's where he's moved from, just in case. So, and well, here's the thing though, he is moving adjacent, right? So he's not breaking restriction, he's moving closer, so he is satisfying his what is it again? Requirement. He's satisfying his requirement. We don't need to check preferences because that is only hex. It's closer to and adjacent to a German unit, a German VP hex. However, we do need to have a look at 9.25. So operational limit doesn't come in at. A hex that would cause German unit to become surrounded. We're not going to be able to achieve that. A hex not adjacent to a Soviet unit. Right, well, the thing is, he can reach these 2 hexes if he wanted to. Now, I know this isn't any closer to his objective, but remember, that gets chucked out the window now, because we're looking at 9.25, and it could well be that if this is a preferential hex, he'll go back there and end up not being closer. But this is my understanding of it. It rings bells from Ardennes. It looks like it's been changed up a little bit here, but I think they've looked at this because it was talked about quite a lot in the previous game. So yes. So what was I looking at? Adjacent to a German Soviet unit, wasn't it? A hex of Soviet support. Yeah, I've done that one. A hex not adjacent to a Soviet unit. So if he was there, he'd be adjacent to a Soviet unit. If he was there, he'd be adjacent to a Soviet unit. So, and that's only 2 hexes he can reach that's adjacent to this unit. I don't even think he can get to this one. No, he can. So, and then the next one would be an empty or garrisoned hex. Well, there you go. That's empty. That is not. So, he's going to go there right enough. So, he's not going to alter these. He's not going to adjust with 9.25. He's going to stay where he is. He's not broke any restrictions. He's good. He's happy. Right. Next. Next is unit 4 here. Well, he can certainly get closer and adjacent to this by just moving into there. Can he also go 1, 2, 3 into there? He can. There's 3 steps. So we have a couple options then. Right, I think that's his 2 options. I'm just looking here because it's 2 to cross the Donetsk River, 3 to enter the woods with mechanized unit. So that's 5 into there. And unfortunately, this is broken, so it'd be another 2 to move into there. So he cannot reach this hex because that is probably closer as well. So, is that right? Yeah, because it can't even get into this road. Nah, it's too much movement. Yeah. So there's these two options. Okay. So checking the movement method again. I'm gonna have to put this cooler on. It's warm in here again. Yeah. So there's these two. What is it looking like here? Just movement method 2, isn't it? So yeah. So he's got to go through the preferences this time because they're. Well, hang on. Yeah, hang on. Okay, yeah, where he was 9 away. That is 8 away. That is 7 away. So it could come to being the closest, but I'm going to check preferences first. Because both of them are closer and adjacent to a VP hex, a German VP hex. So prefer a VP hex A that's targeted exclusively by the active front. That's in case he's got alternative VP hexes that he could move to. Well, this is targeted by the southwestern front, so yeah, I mean, even if he could go across to, well, no, we can't get adjacent to Kramatorsk, and Solanas has been taken. So yeah, he's coming this way, and the marker's down here, the objective marker's down here. So that's fine. B is occupied by the least German strength. Occupied. So this is what we're looking at here is the VP hex. So there's not a we've only got one VP hex, but we need to know where we're going to move. Move to a hex closer to or within 4 hexes of the unit's objective marker and adjacent to a German VP hex. Right. Okay, I've got 2 places I can go that are closer. Prefer a VP hex A targeted exclusive by the active front. Okay, that is it. B occupied by the least German strength. That is it. C not across the Dnieper River hex side from the moving unit's hex. No. D with the highest VP value. Right, okay. And then it just says the Soviet unit starting adjacent to German VPX on 4 hexes of the objective marker and unable to move to a more preferred VP hex is not moved by this or any subsequent method except as directed by 9.25. So it's not giving me anything now. Am I missing something? Is it just we move directly to 9.25 to find out which hex he's going to move to? Maybe? I mean, you would think you visited tiebreakers, but there's no preferences at all. The preferences are all about which VPX I'm going to target. I'm going to move adjacent to. And there's only one. But there's multiple choices of hexes to go in. Okay, right. Well, if I was to just look at tiebreakers there, it would be closest to the unit's objective marker, so it would be this hex. I'm not feeling terribly comfortable about that though. Why not, Legrand? I think just because it's missing. You would have thought there was something to guide you within movement method 2. I understand it's trying to get the right VP hex, but once it's found the right VP hex, we also need to find the right hex adjacent to it. If you get my drift. Well, if it's tiebreakers, it goes to there. If we looked at 9.25, it's not surrounding, is it? No. Where are we? Operational of that. Surrounded. So Soviet support. A hex not adjacent to a Soviet unit. Both of them would be. An empty garrison hex. This is unit 4 we're moving, yeah, so none of them are empty. A hex not occupied by an active unit. Well, they're both occupied by an active unit. Okay, somebody tell me though, I need to know if between the movement method 2 and I know this is my VP hex, this is the target, but it's not guiding me, it's guiding me to this being the VP hex, it's not guiding me about which hex I should move to. So should I then move to tiebreaker straight away, or should I move to 9.25? It feels like I should move to tiebreaker, but it feels like there's something missing, that's all. Maybe I'm overthinking this one, okay? But I mean, well, am I? Because I mean, most of the other movement methods give you preferences to on what hex to move to. That's only giving you a preference to what VP hex to target. Okay, any help there would be appreciated, guys, if you understand what I'm going on about. It doesn't look like it makes a difference here, so this one is going to go 1 and then 2, 3 across and beside this guy, and we've already checked 9.25 anyway, so that's where we go. Yeah, okay. Okay, I mean, I think it's fine. It's just, that's the first time I've looked at that one, and it just does feel a little strange. Okay, Unit 6 is next. Now, this is going to be out of bounds now, isn't it? Because we've got 5 steps in here. So, that's not an option. Unit 6, well, moving there is not going to be closer, is it? No, we already decided that one from there. So I think he's going to miss out, isn't he? Yeah, so Unit 6 is not going to move by this movement method because it can't get closer to the objective and adjacent to him. I mean, it can get adjacent to this by moving into there, but it needs to also be moving closer. Where are we? Move the X closer to, and there's the or if it's within 4 hexes, but you're going to get that's going to come into it once you're much closer to your army objective, your front objective, Grant, obviously. So it's not going to apply this now, right? So I think we can skip on by Unit 6. Who's next then? Unit 7, right? He's already adjacent. Now, it only comes into it if he's within 4. Soviet unit starting adjacent to the German VPX within 4 hexes of the objective marker and unable to move to a more preferred VP hex, does not move by this or any subsequent method. Well, he's not within 4. Soviet unit starting adjacent to German hex. Starting adjacent to a German VP hex within 4 hexes of the objective marker. Right, he's not. So okay. Move the hex closer to or within 4 hexes of the unit's objective marker and adjacent to a German VP hex. So I guess if if he could move into this hex, which would be closer to his objective, but no, he's not going to be able to move closer. This is not going to be closer. You can't get into that, so he's not going to move either, I don't think. Right, Unit 9, yeah, he might come down to here. I think is 9 next, 6, 7, 9. Yeah, because we can't get through here. This is full up. However, he can move into this hex. So from where he is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, you know what? That might not be. That might be about the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is. It's 8 from there, and it's 8 from there. So yeah, so he's not going either. That was 9. So then we've got 13. Right, surely he's moving then. You would have thought so. Yeah, you would have thought so, but the terrain up here's awful, so I don't think he's making it. Because it's 5 to move into there, and then another 3 to get into this woods. There's no roads. And it'd just be the same going in there, 3 and then 5 to cross. And he can't come down the road or anything. Hang on, Grant. Can he not move into here? Yeah, of course. That was close. Yeah, he can move into here. Surely that's closer. Yeah, he's 10 away from where he is. He's 8 away if he moves into there. And I think he can move into there because it's 3 into the woods and then another 2 into the broken. And yeah, I don't even think we need to check 9.25 with this one because he cannot reach another hex because he can't get in there. So yeah, he's only got 1 hex an option, and 9.25 still, you still need to abide by the movement. I mean, it tells you that. That's common sense, Grant. Do we need to look at that? Yeah, make sure, however, that the unit's move conforms to the rules for movement and the restrictions of 9.23. Yeah, so it can't start breaking movement rules and say, well, just float across the river there. Okay, so as long as he's not breaking restrictions, he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put him down the bottom. 4, 5 into there. Okay, that's slightly awkward. Yeah, there's a little bit. Right, well, okay. Well, we'll see. He's underneath anyway. I mean, if we forget, well, we're going to say, oh, right, well, he's already moved. This guy's not moved. He's active. He's not moved yet. So what was that? We've got 1 to go in 19, I think. Yeah? That was 13. 19 is already adjacent. Well, I think this hex is full now as well, isn't it? This has got 5 steps. This has got 5 steps. So we can't get another 2-stepper in there. They can't get to these. So 19 is not going to move either. So we're going to move on to the next movement method, looking at these 4 units, I think. Okay, movement method 3, open supply line, doesn't start until turn 3. And then movement methods 4 to 9 don't apply to spearhead units, which mobile group pop off are, unless they're in a city or a town. So none of these units are, so we're going to skip on through 4 to 9. And then find 10, which is follow movement arrows, right, unlikely, in ascending order. Unit 6, yeah, he's got into here. Unit 7 can't move anywhere. Unit 9, 1, 2, 3, and he stops, or 1, 2, 3, well, he can't move in there, it's overstacked. And then 19, yeah, okay, so can't move via arrows. Move closest to the front objective. Okay, so this time they're just trying to get as close to the front objective, going in ascending order, but like I say, we've still not opened up gaps yet, so they might not. So this is ascending order, again unit 6. Well, he will be able to get closer, but by the way, he'll be able to get into here, well, here or here. Well, actually, that's probably not closer, is it? Yeah, well, this is obviously closer, Grant, because that's 1, 2. So he could get into here. Well, let's see where he can get to. That would be closer, and let's just, what I might do is open things up a little bit there. Can we see the objective marker? Just, but you don't need to maybe, well, why not count the hexes, I suppose. Right, they're the 3 apart. This one's 7 away actually, so these 2 are 6 away. We're looking at unit 6. So 1, 2 over the minor river, 3 into there, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the woods, 6 into there. So they're both, what did I say, 5 away? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. Okay, I just had another wee look there though, but we can actually reach this hex if we go around about down the road. So here he's here, you can go 1, 1, 2 onto the road, 3, 4, 5, 6, staying on the road all the way down. So all 3 of these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. I don't think there's any more options. So that's his 3 choices. Now his preferences are closest to the front objective, well they're all 6, so I kind of put that one in my head straight away. The next one is adjacent to German occupied hex with the least strength. So these 2 options will be adjacent to 2 strength, and this one will be adjacent to 3 strength. So we can take that one away. And then the last preference, I think, is empty hex. So they're both empty. So we would tie break to the west, I think. Closest to unit subjective marker, yeah. An empty hex, the hex furthest in the compass direction, yeah. So it's west as well, yeah. They were both west, the markers, weren't they? Yeah. So and then west is down the way. So this would be his preference. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He might have been able to come down the road and get into that as well, to be honest. So that's who's going, but I'm going to leave the other cube there. Just wait a minute, Grant. That's where he came from as well, right? No restrictions, no, don't think so. Restrictions don't really bother about where the unit ends up, do they? It's just like if you're breaking surround on a German unit, if you're causing proximity to a VP hex, or a VP map edge hex if it's becoming vacant. Yeah, it's a lot more straightforward, I think. So 9.25 again, no operational limit, hex that would cause German unit to become surrounded. Neither of them will do that. Hex and Soviet support, yeah, a hex not adjacent to a Soviet unit. Oh, well, there you go then. We've got a winner this time, because that would be adjacent to a Soviet unit and that one is not. So it does settle on the hex that he preferenced, didn't he? And didn't adjust. Okay, good stuff. Right. Who's next? Unit 7. He's only infantry. Can he get? I've got my doubts about him getting closer. Yeah, he can't really budge. I mean, it's going to cost him 3 just to move back into there, and then yeah, he's not even going to get across the river. So he's not going to be able to get closer to his front objective. Unit 9, right? Well, that should be able to follow something similar to Unit 6. So where can he go then? Yeah, so he can actually hit all the hexes that Unit 6 was able to hit. So preferences are closer, they're all 6. They're all 6. Adjacent to German occupied hex with a least strength, yeah, so it's going to come down to this one again. So that one's not going to be the option. It's going to be one of the 2, and the last option is empty hex. So that's a dog outside, that's not one of mine. What am I doing? I'm moving Unit 9, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3 into there. Is that right? Yeah, because I've got to move This wasn't an option for 9.25, was it? No, because I'm moving adjacent to this German unit. That's set in stone. It's only if we can adjust around this unit. Okay, and that's where he was. Again, no restrictions, right, 9.25. Again, there's no surround support. Hex not adjacent. Ha! There we go again. Ah! Yeah, it's bound to keep coming up this until I decide what I'm going to do, isn't it? Because this is adjacent to a Soviet unit and this is not. So it's getting close to you're going to have to make a decision, Grant. I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't decide to like ignore the rules that are in the rule book until John says, yeah, we're going to change that to, well, because he might not. He might say, no, that's how it is. Who else have we got? We've only got one more unit to move, haven't we? Well, Unit 7 is still not moved. Unit 19. Right. What did I do with Unit 9? Right. What I'm going to do, I think, is put them in there. This is probably going to interfere with Unit 19's move, though, isn't it? And put another one of these cubes. Basically try to say that 9 might be in here instead. But again, rules as written, I think that's where he goes. Unless I am missing something. Which is not impossible, for sure. Okay, so where would 19 be able to get around there then? Let me see. Yeah, in actual fact, 19, that's the only hex he could go to, though, anyway, that's going to get him closer. Well, that's not... Well, yeah, to get the closest, he can't hit another hex, he can't get into this one from where he is, because the breaking zone of control 1, 2, 3, 4 crossing the Minor River, and then 5 into there, and then he's got to stop, and it would be another 3 to move into there, and going up round the road this time is not. Oh wait, no, he's infantry. Okay, my bad, sorry, hang on, he's infantry. 1, 2, 3, I think it's just the same, isn't it? He can move 4 into there. 1, 2, 3, that'd be 4, 5, 6 into there, so. Yeah. Yeah, so I think he can move there. And the good thing about him, I suppose, is he can't adjust into there. Yeah, he can't adjust. So I'm going to move this guy. 1, 2, breaking zone of control. 3, and then 4 into there. I'm going to leave that little cube on top, because this unit 9 might be in there if we get some kind of response that tells us, no. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Okay, so that's all the units moved, apart from like not being sure about unit 9 there. So we do have one unit that's still not moved, which is unit 7. But we've only got one more method to check, haven't we? And that's strength and potential attack. If not adjacent to a German unit, move to hex adjacent to a German unit to which another active Soviet unit is also adjacent. A unit starting adjacent to a German unit does not move by this method. So he's starting adjacent. However, we do need to check 9.25, but he's not going to adjust. He's not going to be able to. It's like 4 movement into there, and yeah, he's not moving. Okay? The units that are adjacent to German unit does not move by this method. I'm actually going to just flip him around and say, right, that's it. So that's everybody moved. Yeah. So I mean, this attack check, again, we can still do it without being 100% sure to where that unit is. But I'm going to just have to go with it, I think, soon. Yeah. Okay, what we are? That's an hour. Okay. Okay, I was checking if I might have had any. Still no response regarding this, so yeah, we're getting close to having to just like make a decision. Well, my decision can only be that the units are just going to stack. That's all I can go with. Right. However, let's see if we can move on and check for combat now. So that's everybody moved. Right. So conduct attack checks. Right. I was more comfortable with a player aid for this. Where are we? Attack checks. There we go. Right. So 1 unit at a time. Lead unit. Also got to remember, what is it? Lead unit can't be in a VPX. Can't be a one-step unit. Got to keep that in mind. That it'll happen at some point, right? So, and then include strength of active reserve units. Now we do have a reserve this time. So it's unit 1, isn't it? So he's looking at this guy. Ooh, yeah, this guy's going to get a beating, isn't he? Well, he's going to get attacked anyway. So let's home in on that a little bit. So we have 6, 11, and yeah, so 11 and then another 7 is 18. I'll put this card up here just now. 18. Yeah, he's in a bit of trouble, isn't he? And then obviously also we've got to consider this. As long as there's a place where he can go, I mean, well, there is, isn't there? Let's not need to bother too much about it. He can go right there, can't he? We don't have an auxiliary card, don't need to check that. So what did I say? 18? 11, 18. So 23 to 3 now. Does he get any bonuses? He does not. I mean, these units are attacking across the Donets River, but these are not, and in fact that unit might even go into the reserve. But he's either going there or there. He's not going to be attacking across the Don. It only matters if they're all coming across the Donets River anyway. Yeah, so he's not getting any bonuses, and I forgot this number again. 18, 23, 23 to 3. 71, I want to say, but I'm going to double check that because my adding up has been horrendous of late. 23, I said 3 7s are 21. Yes, okay. So that would be 71. Right, we don't put dice just yet, Grant. However, this is going to go ahead, isn't it? Yes, indeed. If it's greater than or equal to 3 to 1, it's going ahead. So we are having an attack. So, well, we've not got a reserve in yet. So this is going ahead. This is going ahead. This attack, right? Get the other playwright out then. Is it on the other playwright? Yeah. So add active reserve units, but not when attack overwhelming. Okay, right. Let's work things out. Well, it shouldn't be until, well, you know what? Let's count what you've got just now. 11 and 7 is 18 to 3. Oh, well, it could be. It could be, because we only need 6. It's 6 to 1 you need. So 18 to 3 is indeed 6 to 1, but it needs to have overwhelming attack. Let's go down the play rate as well. 6 to 1, greater than or equal to 6 to 1. Large attack with greater than or equal to 6 to 1. A large attack for the Soviets is 7 chip pools though. So is he getting that? Maybe not quite. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he is. 4, 5, 6, and 1 for the artillery barrage. He is. He's getting 7 to 1. He's getting 7 chip pools. So that reserve's not coming in now, I don't think. Right, let's double check that, I think. Yeah, I've got 11 and 3 chip pools, 7 and 3 more chip pools, 18 and 6 chip pools. 18 against 3 is 6 to 1 with 6 chip pools, and he is definitely inside the barrage zone. So that gives him another chip pool. So that is an overwhelming attack then. So we're not going to add the reserve because it says add active reserve units, but not when attack overwhelming. So he's gone back into the box just now. I mean, he might still be coming out to play for this over here, but yeah. So and then we're not going to draw a combat tactic either. We're just going to settle on what we've got. So we could play a right now. This might be worthwhile considering this time because this is a view. Well, pull out's not really what you want to be doing, though, Grant, is it? Combat engineer screen. Oh, we could screen. I did say I was going to have the opportunity to screen. I don't know. Yeah, you know, I'm tempted, but I mean, I'm not fussed about what's on the card. Like, you know, I'm not fussed about activating Kharkov's camp group because I've got this card. I could activate them, or I mean, I'm not really fussed about activating Kharkov. So I'm probably going to play this for engineers. So I'm not bothered about the card. However, I've only got 4 cards left in my hand, nothing in the draw pile, and the Soviets still have, because they just shuffled another one back in, they've still got 7 cards. And yeah, I mean, I know I can get down to 1 card and pass a little bit, but then what else are you going to do with that card, Grant? You're going to have to use the cards. I had a little glance about what this attack might be here because I think that this is going to go ahead as well, and I think the reserve unit's going to come into this attack, and it's going to be a sort of 7 to 1 with 5 chip pools, I want to say, but then it's going to draw a combat tactic, that one as well. And I think if anything, it'd be better try to stop this, wouldn't it? But what's your chance? I mean, taking two chip pools away, is that really giving you a chance to not move out of the town? It's giving you a chance to maybe survive. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to play screen then. My door just opened there. Yeah, I'm going to play screen, and I'll just double checking what it does. That it does what it does. Screen, defender only, reduce the maximum allowed combat chip draws by 2. Yeah, there's nothing else being talked about there. So now this is done. It doesn't mean that they can now draw a combat tactic, because the sequence was that they would draw a combat tactic first, and they didn't draw it because of overwhelming odds or whatever it is, overwhelming attack. So now I get to play a combat tactic, and that reduces that to 5. So now they've not got the overwhelming attack, but they can't then go back and like start drawing combat tactics. So yeah, I'm gonna play this. Don't know. Yeah, could be the wrong choice. I don't know. Well, I suppose we're going to see when the chips get drawn. Well, I'm not going to know what the final two would have been, but I'm always tempted to do that and just have a look. But I've never done it yet. I think we'll just leave it to what could have been, what might have been. Right, so I think we're drawing chips now, aren't we? Yeah, so we're going to draw 5, but I'm going to draw them one at a time, just in case. Yeah, hang on. Yeah, because I added the comment into the header of that last one, because I did end up drawing one chip too many. And, you know, by drawing them one at a time, I was able to find out what the last chip drawing was. So so it was useful there, right enough. So there you go. So we'll do that. We've got a place to put them maybe. Yeah, it's fine. Where's the attack? The attack's in Izium, isn't it? Izium. Right, 5 chats. They've got armor. We're in a town, so yeah, you never know. Okay, I'll draw the 5, but like I say, I'll just pluck them out one at a time and pause and start and things. Well, that was close. 7-1. I was worried about the back. It's flank attack on the back. Remember, we're in a town, so yeah, that would have been a nasty one. But definitely just 6-1, isn't it? 11 and 7 is 18 to 3. 3 6s are 18. Yeah, so just got away with that one. Yeah, only attacker armor though, that does apply, so we're at D1. Nah, that's not good. Where's the town chats? Come on, both the armor chats. 3, 2 to go. Oh, this isn't good. Not good at all. D3, so yeah, well, we're pretty sure we're retreating now, so right, 1 to come. He finishes with artillery as well, right at the 5 chats. I mean, okay, we're not eliminated, I suppose. And I fear that drawing 2 more chats if we didn't place green would have eliminated the unit. I'm just a wee bit annoyed I'm having to take a hit. That's right, innit? 1 soaked up. Retreat, stay at watch, yeah. Yeah, I mean D3 I would have been pretty okay about, you know? Because that would have been I would have been dispersed in the woods here maybe. Yeah, so right, just double check. 41, yeah. Only attacker armor, yeah. And then artillery, we are in the barrage zone. So 5 chits drawn, yeah. Yeah, okay, so it's D4 as a result. Okay, so 1 soaked up for the town, takes us to 3. So yeah, we have to retreat there first. Now maybe something to think about the second retreat, possibly, because we could get across the river. If we go there, is there a gap? There's not a gap if we go there. So we can go there. I think it's more likely we're going to be there or there, but this looks kind of nicer in here, because it's right round the river, isn't it? You're unlikely to. You're guaranteed to, if they do attack you, to be getting a reduced hit by 1, I think, because they're all going to be attacking across the Donetsk River. I mean, unless something was able to get in. Right, sorry, I'm maybe not showing you that. Unless something was able to get in there, but this looks like a decent place to go. Although he's moving away from his buddies that way, isn't he? Yeah, I suppose he is, yeah. No, I still feel that like this is a safer X, so and it's not opening up a gap there. And remember, we do have, yeah, that's a point. We do have the card to activate third corps, which might actually be our next impulse now, the way things have went, to be honest. Right, let me just ponder on that a little bit more, I think. Yeah, I think I still will retreat them into there for the second retreat. So now is going to become dispersed, but before I disperse them, I do have one more hit to take, so that is going to reduce them. I'll get a disperse marker. Yeah, it's a safer place for him to be, I suppose. Right, now, okay. So no hits to the Soviet units. Now they do have the option of 2-hex advance. Well, the mechanised units anyway. So they're going to auto advance. Unit 1's going to auto advance, so let's not muck about. Ah, I forgot to turn these guys again. Oops. Right. I'll get into the habit of that. I'm quite liking it actually. I know it's a bit strange, but I think I like it, John. Yes, good call. So he's going to auto advance into here. So that's his first hex advance. Now he will try and advance the second hex. We're looking for the highest advance chance. Which is probably, that's a forward arrow anyway. Oh, hang on. Ah, man. Almost Grant. I've had to, where did I take? Well, we've took 2 victory points. Yeah, it was here, wasn't it? I was all infantry. Right, okay, we just got lucky there. I was almost about to advance that guy a second hex. And remember, you can't, because I've just taken over this town, I've got to stop. The rules are the same here, aren't they? Pretty sure they are. Yeah, in fact, was that not one of the things I mentioned on... Right, hang on. Yeah, towns, page 43, rule 14.1, towns and cities. A unit must stop moving or advancing upon entering an enemy town or city, upon which the town or city immediately becomes friendly owned. So now it's friendly owned, and I think I maybe posted a comment about this on BGG asking, it was a bit strange that the majority of the time, because you're going in ascending order, it's going to be your strongest unit, and most likely a mechanised unit that's going to advance first into the town and then not be able to advance the second hex. Now, it came back to me, I think it was Martin maybe replied, yeah, it's just one of these strange things, but this unit's probably going to go and come and advance 2 hexes now behind them, which is, yeah, fair enough. So he advances there, he cannot advance the second hex. Unit 4 will advance there too, however, he'll need a dice roll. So he is advancing into a VP hex, he needs a 1 to 6. He rolls a 4, so he's good with that one. And so he can advance the second hex because now that town with Unit 1 moving in, it's now a Soviet owned town. And I should have gave them a victory point as well. So they're up to 5. That's right, isn't it? 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Restrictions in advance. Don't cause German proximity. Mech unit into a marsh. Don't cause another Soviet unit to become unable to trace supply. That's from turn 3. And something about from turn 6, which we'll not go into yet. Okay. So at second advance, he's only going to check the highest advance. Well, that's an auto advance, isn't it? That's going primary arrow, and Now, there is a path of retreat. It's not going to matter. And the first that applies, primary direction. So this would be an automatic advance. So yeah, he's going to take that on then. So he would second X advance into there. We then look at unit 7. Now he's going into a primary. He's going into a VP hex 2. So he'll, and there's only one unit advanced in there now because he advanced twice. So he'll advance on a 1 to 6. Yeah. He's rolled a 10 though, so infantry is not going to advance. The mechanised unit underneath can check though for a 1 to 6 as well. He rolls a 2, so that's kind of annoying because he'll get the chance to advance the second hex, won't he? So again, primary arrow with 1 already advanced though is a 1 to 6. A 1 to 7 causes surround closer to objective. Ooh, oh, that will be then. I'm just looking at the next, because it's the second hex advance, we only check for the highest chance of advance. If we were able to move into a hex that causes surround or was closer to objective, or was the attacked hex, well, that can't be the attacked hex, because this is the attacked hex. So I think I'm really looking for, not even causes surround, I'm actually looking for closer to objective here. This would be closer to objective. I'm sure what the other hex would be as well, Grant. Yeah, okay, so these two hexes are going to be 1 hex closer to his objective, right? And it would be a dice roll of 1 to 7 to go into one of these two. And because there's a unit already advanced into here, this arrow, it'd be a 1 to 6 chance to go into there. So he's gonna check on one of these two, but because I can't break that down any further which one he's gonna go to, because they're both closer to his objective, we're gonna have to tie break that one, aren't we? So tiebreakers, where's tiebreakers? Is it on the player aid somewhere? Or not? Tiebreakers. Closer to the unit's objective marker, well, both of them would be empty hex, both of them would be furthest in objective. It's compass direction, yeah, okay. So this is going to be further west than what this is. This is going to be the hex he's going to choose to advance into. He's not going from zone of control to zone control. However, I think that was a path of retreat anyway. So he's not though. And he'll advance into there on a roll of 1 to 7. Right. And he's rolled a 1. So yes. So that was a wee bit fiddly at the end, but I don't know, let me know what you think. I feel like that did go to plan. So that's us checked all the units for advance after combat. Yeah. Okay, so that's that attack completed. So we do have one other check to make. The one where we don't know where these units are. So unit 6. I'm going to start losing what I'm doing here, I think. So the check is 4, 7, and this as well. So that's 10 against 2. However, we do need to consider the no, that's the wrong thing, Grant. There it is. Attack check. 10 against 2, I said. Yeah, but we need to check the reserve. I'm going to bring the reserve across again because I think he's coming in this time. So that would be 15 to 2, which is 7 to 1. Yeah. So it would be 7 to 1. Well, hang on though. This is checking situational, yeah. So the situational strength is going to be 2, but he's getting a +1 for being adjacent. And yeah, that's basically that. Yeah. There's not an awful lot comes out of that. There was far more in the Soviet Soul. So okay, so he's a 3 though. So that would be 15 to 3, which is only 5 to 1. However, that's still a goal. So they're still going to attack because it's greater than 3 to 1. Right, okay. So now we go into the attack and check the numbers before we apply the reserve. So we've got 10 to 2 before the reserve comes in. 10 to 2, we're not checking situationally anymore. So 10 to 2 is indeed 5 to 1. So we've got 5 to 1 odds. This is just to check if it might be overwhelming, but it's not going to be this time, is it? And then we've got 1, 2, these are all 2-step units. This wee cube is deciding if this unit's in here or in here, but yeah, okay, so they're all 2-step units. So 1, 2, 3 chip pools. It is outside the barrage zone, so we don't need to add one for that, Grant. So that's 1, 2, 3 chip pools. Yeah, so that's it actually. 3 chip pools. So 5 to 1 odds with 3 chip pools is not an overwhelming attack. So we are going to add the reserve. So we're now moving into step 1. Add active reserve units, but not when attack is overwhelming. Well, attack is not overwhelming. So we're going to add the reserve. Right, where's he going to go then? 12.2, I want to say. That sounds like a number that rings a bell. Oh, spot on. Right, in step 1, place the reserve unit if at the moment of the check the attack is not overwhelming and all the following, and a placement hex meets all the following requirements, right? The hex is adjacent to the hex under attack. Soviet reserve supply can be traced. A unit in the same front other than a reserve placed in this attack is in or proximate to the hex. That's yeah, that's definitely new. That I don't know. I'm not quite sure why that's there, but there must be a reason. I think I've said this already. Placement of the unit in the hex would not violate stacking limits. The hex is within the operational limits. If the objective marker for the active front has been removed, right, it's not. And then prefer. So some preferences, right? Where can the unit go? Okay, so you can go there or there. Well, actually, you can go there, or you can go there, or maybe there, because it depends where that unit is. Oh, yeah, we're going to have to get this sorted soon. Because, and the reason being, this has got 4 steps in it, so, and this is a 3-step unit, so he can't go into there. However, if that unit's meant to be in there, he then can't go in there and he would go there. Yeah, I know, this is rubbish, isn't it? Get it sorted, Grant. Well, I'm just going to finish this part, and then I'm going to have to take a break anyway, and then if there's no response to my question by then, I'm just going to have to go by the rules that I'm seeing. Okay, so where's it going to go then? Let's break that down. Yeah, because we can trace reserve supply. It's adjacent. A unit in the same front, other than reserve, placed in the set, is in or proximate to the hex. Yeah, it is. It's not violating stack limits. Well, that's why we've got to consider this one. So, yeah. So I'm unqualifying a hex in Soviet support if the attack is not already supported. It is in support. Hex causing surround of the defender. No. A hex not across the Dnieper River hex side from the defender. No. A hex causing the defender to be flanked. Oh, well, there you go. Bingo. Well, that's good then. Because that is going to cause flank, because these 2 stacks were not flanking. So that is where he's going to go. he's going to go in there, and then in actual fact we're now going to turn them round. So we had 10 strength, and now we've got 15. So, and we've added our 2 chip pools. So 15 to 2 is 7-1 odds. Where are we? 7-1. And we've added 2 chip pools. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 for him because he's a 3-stepper. So that's 5 chip pools. So we're still not overwhelming, I don't believe. It's not 8-1. It's not a large attack with 6-1. No, it's not. And it would, the other option is 5-1. Defenders unsupplied dispersed with a ratio of 5-1, or defenders isolated in a known BP hex. Right, so it's not an overwhelming attack. So we've added the reserve. We're going to draw a Soviet card now and apply its combat tactic. Okay, let's do it. Oh dear. Right, hang on. Sorry, that was me. That wasn't things just falling. Right. Okay, so draw combat tactic. For this, we get artillery. If drawn during combat or applied as combat tactic, shuffle this card back into. If drawn during combat or applied, or when 3 or fewer cards are in the Soviet draw pile. Well, there's still more than 3. This is going to shuffle in. I was thinking, well, at least they're drawing a card now that they're dead, but there's so many of them that shuffle back in, isn't there? So he's already getting artillery. That does give him an extra chip pool though, because we've seen that, and then this shuffles in. Bleh. That's yuck. Hang on. I said he was already getting artillery, and I think I'm lying again. Right, I've shuffled that in as well. Right, hopefully we'll remember he's got artillery, because this attack is actually outside the barrage zone. I'm having difficulty with that barrage zone, haven't I? Yeah, so now he is having artillery. So please try and remember that, Grant. 7-1 odds, 6 chip pools. There's no auxiliary card to be used as a combat tactic additionally, so we're going to start. Well, do you want to play a combat tactic, Grant? I think we've tried the best. I think I'm going to leave it. The screen we tried, so let's just go for it. Okay, 7-1 with 6 chip pools. Find a bit of a space for things, and yeah, where are we attacking? Yeah, it's in there. Right. Okay. 7-1, 6 chip pools. Right, I'll get this exit. I'll just probably do it again one at a time. Oh, I thought we were starting on a good one there. Maybe it was city or attack not supported. On the front, and then time was broken for a D-1. That would be nice. However, the attack is just a clear hex, so not to be. Right, 5 to go. Okay, still not applying, so I suppose good news. Air power or Soviet not supported, and it's Soviet air power on the other side. So no air power played. So right, 4 to go. Yes, yes, a result. Something happening at last. Yeah, disperse unsupplied. He is not. However, defender adjacent. Now that, interestingly, it doesn't apply to this. Well, mind you, he's dispersed anyway, because this guy was attacked already. However, this guy has not been attacked. Let me just double check that one. Defender adjacent applies if defender adjacent to undispersed supplied friendly unit not yet attacked in this activation. Well, he wasn't attacked. He was, but he's dispersed anyway. But just to let you know, if he hadn't been dispersed, he had still been attacked. So if this unit wasn't here, then we would have not been able to get that. But he is there, so we will get that. So an A1 with a D-1, feeling pretty good now. So, however, still 3 chits to come, so here we go. Okay, well, that's not the worst. It's not the worst. It's not the best, but I mean, for what we've got, a wee one-step unit in a clear hex, to be sitting right now at A2, yeah, I would take that if I hadn't started drawing chits yet. So still got 2 to go though. So well. What about this? It was City Woods on the front for a D-1. To be honest, I'd probably prefer the D-1, but the Soviets are taking a bit of a beating here. And that's a clear hex, and it's another A1. So yeah, as long as I don't get a D1 here, I'm going to be delighted. But well, here we go. Yeah, flank attack, and that was that guy. That was that reserve getting placed in there that done that. Remember that got the flank attack for them. So yeah, unfortunately we do hit D1. Not the end of the world though, really. I mean, I can just retreat 1 hex, so, and he's taking 3 hits here, so it could be quite interesting. Yeah, so it's D1 and A3. Okay, so D1, yeah, I was thinking, yeah, nah, I can't, can I? I was thinking, well, maybe just retreat into this, but I can't because both these options are in zone of control. So I've only got 1 option for retreat, and I don't want to sit and take a step loss, so I retreat into there and accept my 1 hit, which wasn't that bad at all, really. So now 3 hits to the Soviet units. Right, again, we still got to remember this guy could be in there. And then we're going to have another advance after combat situation. Yeah, okay. I'll have to put this to bed and get it sorted out, Grant. Right, well, what about the hits for them? So the first hit has to be taken as a step loss. So to the most steps, well, it's going to be that 3-step unit, isn't it? These are all 2-steppers. Yeah, so 41G, Popov is taking a hit. And he's dropping from a 5 to a 3, which is good. So he takes the first hit. Now they've got 2 hits to take still. So we look at this table again. How many steps have they got? Well, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, isn't it? 8 steps with 2 hits remaining. Yeah, it's got 2 and then in brackets OD. So the brackets as if less than 4 cards in the Soviet draw pile and defender didn't vacate a VP hex. Well, it didn't vacate a VP hex, but they don't have less than 4 cards in the draw pile. I think they're going to take these hits. So use bracketed result if less than 4 cards. Otherwise use primary result. The primary result is a 2. So they're going to take 2 more step losses. Just so they can advance. Yeah, bash on. Go for it. I'm happy with that. They're clearly not wanting to disperse. Okay. So they're looking for the highest. And remember, this guy's already taken a step loss, so he can't take another step loss yet. So this guy's going to take the step loss. And then he cannot take a step loss because he's already. So it's going to be this guy. That is right, Grant, isn't it? And this guy could still be in this hex. I'm going to sort this all out now. I'm going to be, yeah, going to be in a mess, aren't I? Okay, was that right? Yeah, because I don't think they can... No unit may receive a second step loss in a given combat until all units have received 1 step loss in that combat. So that is right. So he couldn't take a second step loss. He took the second one for being the highest number. He was the next highest number, being a 9, to take the loss. So yeah, that satisfies the other hits. Wow, okay. And now we've got this whole situation about advance after combat. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to leave this as well. Now this has all been recorded anyway, so I'm now going to have to look back in the last two parts to sort out how these units are advancing their 1 hex, and how these units are advancing their 1 hex as well. And these two little yellow cubes should remind me of what's been going on, hopefully. Right, okay, well, right, I can put these units back like this, and, but what I'll do is I'll leave these other units that were involved in the other combat that we don't know, the same as this guy, and we'll get this work, well, once and for all. If I've not heard, if nobody's telling me anything, I'm just going to go with what it is. And what that means is they're going to be in the hexes that they're actually in, and then we can just advance after combat from there. Okay, right, that's long enough video now, and I need to go and take a bit of a break. And yeah, that was good though. I enjoyed that, and well, we could still get another wee bit going later tonight, maybe. Maybe we'll see. Okay, I'll be back with the next part sometime soon, guys. Okay, cheers.